In our last update, which was right there, we outlined just two scenarios which both revolved around the support area getting hit. And the first one was that after taking the liquidity below the low of that range, we would see a big bounce and then a reversal lower, which would have been the much more bearish scenario. However, the more bullish scenario is this one, and that was that we saw a small bounce again after taking that low. We saw a small bounce, continued lower to tap our support, and in this case, I was very confident that we would see a bounce either for a lower high below that high or simply to see a massive bounce and a break above this high. And if you go back to the charts, as you can see, this scenario played out perfectly. If we take this level again, so right there, we got the liquidity taken, we got a small bounce and then a drop, which was the more bullish scenario. We hit our support area perfectly and then got a massive bounce to the upside to take out these highs. And right now it does seem like we'll very probably take out these highs as well at $110,700. So as usual, before we dive into today's price action and what you can expect next, let's quickly recap what we did inside the Discord. So for this time, again, it was very simple. I just had one support area, and whether we saw a bounce or not, again, as mentioned in the last update, I was still waiting for that move down. So we got the move down into our area, quickly updated the Discord. But at this point, I did believe that the setup would come the next day. And then even though we saw a small bounce, I still had the same view. I believed that the setup would come tomorrow. And in the end, this analysis was pretty much picture perfect. We got the daily open and then we got the drop. We took out the first low, got a bounce and then continued much higher. But unfortunately, personally, I was asleep. In hindsight, probably I shouldn't have slept, should have done a white night. But in any case, the analysis was picture perfect. Again, got the daily open, got the drop, still into support, a very nice reaction and a big bounce to the upside. And even though I still had this plan in mind that I outlined in our Sunday's live stream, what I said was that again, even though I had this plan personally, I was leaning more bullish and I was not interested in any short positions because I believed it would see a new all-time high. So again, if you go back to the charts, as you can see, not looking for short positions was the right move. We got that big bounce, we broke above this high, and this uptrend does look extremely strong. So with that said, what can you expect next? Well, today we can keep it extremely simple. If you go on the daily, what you will see is that we have a daily imbalance. So as usual, I would take the midpoint of this candle, which comes in around $107,200. So let me take this level, 107.2, and see if we have any confluence on the lower time frame. So if you go on the 12-hour, we have a 12-hour imbalance right there. So take this open. So this level instantly does look extremely important to me. But on top of that, we have even more confluence. If I go on the 4-hour and take the volume profile that we've had since the all-time high, so right there, we have the point of control which comes right on my level. And then if you take the volume profile of this bigger range, we have the value area high around this level as well. And finally, if you take the volume profile of this much larger range that we've been in since $74,000, again, we have the value area high around this level as well. And finally, for one last confluence as well, if we go on the 30 minutes and take yesterday's volume profile, if this can load, so if we take the volume profile, we have yesterday's value area low right on our level as well. So as you can see, this level not only is very important just by looking at imbalances because it's the midpoint of the daily and we have a 12-hour imbalance, but as you just saw, we have a lot of confluence around it. So how can you play around this level? Well, if you miss this long position down there as I did, or maybe if you opened it, took profits and you want to average up, this is what I would look for today. So the most bullish scenario, because I am still expecting higher at this point, would be that we leave these ugly highs behind for now, and if we can drop from here, hit that support level and get a very nice reaction, I would target these very ugly highs for a move much higher. Okay, so dropping from here would be the much more bullish scenario because again, you would leave these ugly highs behind for a target to the upside. However, if we do indeed come back down and lose this level, so maybe do something like this, a small bounce, and then lose this level, then this would be a massively bearish sign. And at this point, honestly, I would expect the tap of the quarterly pivot at $100,000 and $100. And with all of this in mind, that was mainly it for this update. We just have one level to be aware of. So a quick recap. Personally right now, I am bullish and expecting higher prices. We don't have to see a drop to this level, but if you want to open a long position, for me, that's the only setup that I see. So if we can drop from here, leave these highs behind for now, this would be the much more bullish scenario to see a bounce to the upside and then take out these highs. However, if we do indeed drop and we lose this level, this would be a massive sign of weakness, and I would expect a much bigger drop to tap the quarterly pivot down there, which would give you a drop of, let's see, of about 6.5%. So that's why what I would say is that if you're bearish or iffy about this move to the upside, I would just wait for a sign of weakness. You don't have to try and snipe it up. Because again, below that level, this would still give you a drop of 6.5%. So with all of that said, that was mainly it for this update. Again, we kept it very simple. We just have one level to be aware of, which comes in around $107,500. If we see a drop, a reaction, that would be a very nice long position. On the other hand, if we drop and lose that level, that would be a massive sign of weakness, and I would expect a much bigger drop to the downside. So as usual, if you guys enjoyed this update, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.